Did you think you're coming with us? I'm going with my family. I don't want a stranger tagging along with us. Besides, my husband is disabled and is nothing but a burden now. If I bring him with us, he would ruin the fun. You have to stay behind and take care of him by yourself. You used to be an angel in white, so you can't say no, can you? I brought you here for that purpose in the first place. So do your part. I was living with my in-laws to support my father-in-law, who was seriously injured in an accident. One day, I was in the kitchen doing my chores without a clue when my mother-in-law and my husband left the house with a large suitcase in their hands. They didn't care about my father-in-law's condition. They had no way of knowing what I was doing through every day in the house. I clenched my fist with tears of frustration. Shall we go too? I turned to face the sudden voice and was shocked to see the appearance of my father-in-law. 10 days later, this story took a turn of events. I'm Beth, 28 years old. I used to work as a nurse at a nearby hospital. My husband Alex, who used to frequent the hospital, took an interest in me, and we got married 6 months ago. He's 35 years old, 7 years older than me, and works as a civil servant. I used to work both day and night shifts depending on the emergency. This meant that I would have less time to spend with him. I stopped working for the time being and have been a full-time housewife. I never liked doing housework, but I gradually learned to be efficient for the sake of hardworking Alex. One night, he received a call from his mother. I could hear her frantic voice over the phone. Oh my God, your dad got into a car accident. I don't know what to do. Oh dear, what should I do? Mom, calm down. Take a deep breath and tell me what happened. I was stunned to hear that my father-in-law Connor had been in an accident. He had suffered a serious head injury, lost consciousness, and was rushed by ambulance. Fortunately, he survived, but the doctor said that his brain was damaged and that he would need adequate care for the rest of his life. This is terrible. Beth, will you move in with my parents? My mom wouldn't be able to do it all by herself. It will be a relief to have someone with experience. Of course, I'm concerned too. I would do anything to help such a great father-in-law. Thus, I willingly accepted Alex's request to move in with my in-laws. The next day, I started a new life living with the four of us. However, it was the beginning of hell for me. At first, my mother-in-law Elle welcomed me with smiles and open arms. Within 3 days, she gave up on housework, and I found myself doing everything. Beth, you are a full-time housewife, right? Then there's no reason for me to do the housework. Connor can't move or talk, so you look after him well. You were taking care of your patients before, so it's an easy task for you, right? She always took the easy way out and forced me to do things she didn't want to do. My in-laws' house was a big 5-bedroom mansion. It took me hours just to do the usual cleaning. On top of that, I had to do the laundry, cook meals, and take care of Connor. I was exhausted every day. Even so, I did everything without relying on Elle, but she never once thanked me. On the contrary, she enjoyed criticizing my efforts. Beth, you're not washing the clothes in the right way. Your cooking is tasteless without the proper seasoning. How can you call yourself a full-time housewife? I'm sorry, but I do everything by myself. Can you let me do it the way I want? No, You've only been a housewife for 6 months and already think you're all that? This is my house. You live here, so you obey me. I became increasingly fed up with her treating me like a servant and asked Alex for help. Hon, can't you help me out once in a while? I'm getting tired of having to deal with your mother's complaints day in and day out. He responded with a smirk. Well, she has the authority in this house, so you just need to follow her rule. I'm already tired from working, so no way I'm gonna help you with the chores. For someone who's been provided by me, you're asking too much. I'd rather you be grateful. He was completely on Elle's side. While enduring such a situation, I tried my best to help Connor recover every day. 6 months after we started living together, he got better to the point he could walk. How wonderful to see you walking. I praised his efforts in tears, partly because I had been rewarded for all the care I had given him. However, he was still unable to speak properly and remained mute in response to me. He was not able to eat well and still suffered from the after effects of the accident. Still, I held his hand tightly and kept telling him it's gonna be alright. The next morning, as I was preparing breakfast, I heard Elle and Alex talking in the living room. It's our first trip to Paris. I can't believe I get to enjoy my first trip abroad with you. I'm so excited. Me too. I'm honored to be able to take you there. Let's forget our stress and enjoy it to the fullest. Apparently, they had been planning the trip for several days without telling me and Connor. When I overheard that they would be leaving soon, I rushed to the living room. What on earth are you talking about? A trip to Paris? Oh, you heard us. We are going for a little getaway together. Do you have a problem? I guess not. I thought it was nice that they are taking a trip together, but what bothered me was that they kept this a secret from me. Isn't it too abrupt that you're leaving today? Why didn't you tell me in advance? I've always wanted to visit Paris. I'm hurt that you didn't include me in your planning. What are you talking about? You're staying at home, of course. Even if I told you, I knew you would stop us anyway, so I decided to tell you on the day. And I don't want to bring my disabled husband with me. I don't want the hassle for sure. You're a housewife who can't even do the job properly. Why don't you be useful at least for a change? I'm just glad to get away from Connor. Seeing my bewildered face, Elle smiled triumphantly and kept speaking ill of him. She never even tried to get involved with his care anyway. Mom, it's time to go. Oh yes, we are leaving now. We'll be away for about 10 days, so make sure you take care of the house and take good care of Connor's dementia. I guess he's only going to get worse. I couldn't help but gasp at her insolent attitude toward her own husband. How could you say such a terrible thing? Shouldn't you wish for him to get better as a wife? Your husband is in such a condition, and you two are carelessly going away. What is wrong with you? Please cancel it now. I wanted to stop them from leaving with physical force if I could. What are you talking about? We've been looking forward to this trip, and you are trying to ruin our mood. It's been planned for a long time, and we've already booked the plane tickets. I even managed to get a paid leave amidst the busy schedule, so I'm going to make the most of these 10 days. I've been providing for you. You have no right to stop us. That's right. Connor isn't getting any better anyway. Nothing will change even if we stay with him. We're going to be late, so this conversation's over. Once again, take care of the house. The pressure from the two of them was indeed too much for me, and I was at a loss for words. They quickly ran out without saying bye to Connor, but leaving me with orders. Not only Elle, but also Alex had abandoned me. I wanted to start wailing on the spot, but I could not show my tears in front of Connor. I brought breakfast to him with a smile, as if nothing had happened. The moment I put the tray on the bedside table, "Are those two gone already?" To my surprise, he was able to talk. He even stood up from the bed without a problem. What are you doing? You can speak? They've already left. I replied in amazement. Then we are leaving too. He quickly got ready and walked out of the room. 10 days had passed since Elle and Alex left home. Suddenly, they were speechless. The house, which was supposed to be there, had been turned into a flat land. Both of them panicked at the shocking sight. Alex called me in frenzy. "Oh my God, what the hell happened? The house is gone. Welcome back. We got rid of the house. Also, your father and I have decided to divorce you guys. Our attorney will call you later." They cursed me for this unexpected turn of events. "There's no way you can do such a selfish thing. You're not even the owner of the house." "She's right. You better explain yourself." I brushed it off saying, "I'll let Connor take over now." I handed the phone to him, who was standing nearby. "You two, listen to me very carefully." They were stunned to hear him speak in such a clear voice. What really happened was that he had regained his speech about 3 months after the car accident. He had kept it a secret from us all and had been receiving treatment and rehabilitation at another hospital run by his acquaintance. With his amazing recovery, he was able to speak as normal, and the after effects of the accident had disappeared. I had often witnessed him wandering about the house, but that was only a pretense of dementia. He was actually going to a hospital or to see his legal advisor. He was the only son of an affluent family and had been managing his vast wealth alone since his parents died when he was young. On the day Elle and Alex departed for Paris, I followed him to his attorney's office. He decided to move into a luxury senior apartment with nursing care, which was affiliated with the hospital I used to work at. As a token of appreciation, he offered me a sum of money for my immediate living expenses and a residence in one of his apartment buildings. After that, he sold his house to a real estate company. We both packed up and moved into our new homes. Connor had seen more than enough of Elle and Alex's nasty nature over the past few months. He was disgusted and demanded a divorce from Elle and declared to cut ties with both of them. "How can you abandon your own son?" Alex was furious, but Connor calmly confessed, "Actually, you and I are not related by blood." Alex was speechless. Connor explained to him everything that had happened. Alex was brought to the family when he was still a newborn. Elle and Connor had kept it a secret all this time. When Connor's best friend suddenly passed away, leaving his pregnant wife without much means to live, Connor pitied and took her in. Their marriage was out of the norm, but they were happy living together as a family of 3. However, Elle and Alex took advantage of the fact that Connor had become bedridden. They started spending a lot of his money and even used it to pay for the trip as well. When he noticed it, he pretended to be physically disabled. He dared them to do as they pleased and waited for the right moment. Having grown sick of them, he decided to sell the mansion. He also donated most of his wealth to a foundation for orphaned children. He had already asked the attorney to take care of the necessary procedures. I was amazed by the fact that something on such a big scale had been done so quietly. He told them that the rest would be discussed through his attorney and handed me the phone. Elle and Alex flipped out and begged me to do something about it, but I had no sympathy for them. Too bad. I've been told I'm useless except as a caregiver. I hung up the phone on them. Connor and I received numerous calls from them every day. I picked up once and told them, "I've left everything in the hands of my lawyer, so don't call me again." I blocked their calls after that. Not only did they lose their place of residence, but they faced divorce proceedings. They were also shocked to find out that most of the property was donated to a foundation, and there would be no distribution of their inheritance. In addition, Alex was forced to resign after his employer found out that he had falsely requested family paid leave when he went on the trip. After resigning, he's been working part-time while looking for a new job. Naturally, Elle has to work to make ends meet. She's been working as a cleaner from early in the morning until late at night. They are now living together in a small apartment. Meanwhile, after my divorce was finalized, I returned to the hospital where I used to work. I'm working as a nurse again. I visit Connor on a regular basis and enjoy our conversations. By the way, I've been wondering why you didn't tell me that you had recovered. You could have told me. Oh, that's because if I told you, I was afraid that those two would have found out too. My intention was to catch them off guard, you know. I'm sorry you had to deal with them for half a year. I sincerely apologize. No, I was so ready to leave them anyway. Rather, I thank you for giving me the opportunity. You always cared about me. I hope I have repaid your kindness. Thank you too. He treats me like a real daughter, and I will always love him. I am truly grateful to have met such a kind man, despite everything that happened. While I work hard as a nurse, I hope to find a wonderful man in my life soon.
When are you going to have a baby? Who do you think is paying for your expensive treatment? You money-eating bitch! My husband threw the divorce papers at me. What's with that defiant look? I've been taking care of you until now, you worthless piece of shit! Why don't you thank me and get the hell out of here? You don't work and you can't procreate. Who would want to be with a defective old hack like you? At best, you crawl miserably through life. I had been a housewife for 10 years and was abandoned at the age of 40 due to infertility. How was I supposed to live from then on? What saved me from losing the will to live was my beloved child who came into my life after the divorce. My son, who was like an angel smiling at me, called me Mom and changed my life for the better. I never imagined that this angel was going to send my ex-husband to hell. My name is Kylie. My husband Josh and I were married for 10 years, and I was a full-time housewife. Both of us love children and look forward to having our own, but it was taking a long time. In the beginning, We were relaxed about it, saying it's blessing in disguise. When we were still childless after 5 years, we decided to undergo fertility treatment. Josh believed that it was something women undergo and that the inability to have children was a problem on the woman's side. He was definitely not cooperative. Furthermore, the treatment was expensive, and when he saw me frequently falling ill due to the side effects, he would say, "Who do you think is paying for this? I'm not paying a lot of money so that you can fall sick in bed." He always complained. After 5 years of treatment, he seemed to have lost patience. Despite the best efforts of both myself and my doctor, I was unable to conceive a child, and the cost of treatment just kept mounting. Frustrated by the situation, he finally asked for a divorce. I tried to talk to him and asked him to reconsider several times. He had probably already given up on me, so he refused to have a talk. At the age of 40, I was going through a divorce and became single again. I felt as if there was a gaping hole in my chest, but I worked hard to survive. When I was going through the treatment, I got a part-time job to help cover the expensive bills. Fortunately, I was able to continue working the same job, and they even gave me more hours after I explained the situation. In addition, my manager had been talking about promoting me to a full-time position for a while, so he submitted my application to the head office for me. My days passed quickly and frantically from then on. About a month after I left Josh, my life was drastically changed again. My best friend from high school was in a fatal car accident with her husband. We used to share our joys and sorrow together. Throughout the time I was having trouble conceiving until the divorce we filed, she was always by my side. At first, I could not believe that she was gone. It sounded surreal, but as soon as I saw her face at the funeral, I felt as if the colors had vanished from the world. As I was leaving the funeral home, dizzy and haste, someone caught my eye. A small curled-up figure on the side of the parking lot. I had met him several times. He must have just entered elementary school. I had no idea how big he had become. The small figure that was frozen in time was my late best friend's son, Oliver. My chest tightened to see the way he sat there with his knee to his chin and stared blankly at the ground. I wondered what was going to happen to him who had lost his parents and was suddenly alone. Both of his late parents had no surviving family members, and they didn't have any close relatives. I was afraid that he would be sent around to one foster family after another. I couldn't bear the thought and offered to take him in at that point. As an outsider, I thought I might have caused a stir for saying such a thing, but it was granted relatively easily after agreeing not to ask for any help in any way. Oliver also agreed to live with me without hesitation. After that, things just fell into place, and I took in the huge responsibility to raise him alone. As expected, my life as I knew, it was gone. Every day was like a storm, and I realized how hard it was to care for a child. I grew a deep respect for all the parents in the world. My days were dazzling busy, but also joyful. Oliver and I fought from time to time, but I gave him the maximum amount of love I could. He grew up without any serious illness or injury. After nearly 10 years of living together, he had just started high school. We were out shopping for dinner when we bumped into Josh. He looked surprised to see Oliver standing next to me, but then he started speaking mockingly. "You, why do you have such a big son? Were you cheating on me?" "Hey, don't make such a vile accusation. This is..." "I knew it. He must be the child of your affair. Otherwise, you wouldn't have such a grown son." "Stop it. I never cheated on you, and only the two of us have been living together. Anyway, he is my... I tried to explain, but he interrupted me every time. He never listened to others when he believed something was wrong, but I thought he got worse than before. He gave me a creepy smirk while he spoke. Oh my God, you were dumped by your cheating partner, weren't you? Poor you. I bet you must be having a hard time since you weren't really making money. You idiot. You're so rude. Josh, perhaps amused that I was offended, continued to smirk at me. It was about to walk away from his insensitive guy when I noticed something odd. Why did he assume that I had a child with another man? He knew very well that I was on infertility treatment for 5 years, but never conceived. I asked him exactly what was on my mind. Why do you think he's my child? You know I'm infertile, don't you? So why do you think I had a child with another man? I'm just guessing. Even if I had cheated on you, you know I can't get pregnant. That's why we got divorced. Do you happen to forget such an important thing? Yeah, that's right. How many years has it been since we divorced? It was suspicious. He was staring at me condescendingly just a moment ago, but his eyes started to shift. My suspicion grew by the sudden change of his attitude. Is there something you're holding back from me? I'm not hiding anything. Really? I took a step toward him, and he took a step back. When I stared at his face, he made an awkward expression and started to explain. What he said was surprising. After we got divorced, one of his colleagues told him about male infertility. He was curious, so he got tested and found that he had abnormal sperm function. In other words, he was the cause of infertility. He had been reluctant to participate in the treatment with me, so we were unable to have a child. So, you mean I couldn't conceive because... Yeah, it was my fault. Oh my God. You were mocking me for not being able to give you a child, weren't you? That's why you cheated on me and left me, wasn't it? Excuse me? He was calm at first, but as he spoke, his voice grew louder and louder. His emotions seemed to be building up. You knew I had a problem, weren't you? That's why you found someone else. Wait a minute. Oliver is my late best friend's son. She died in an accident, so I took him in, and I've been raising him as my adopted son. Shut up! Shut up! That's a lie. You've always been a flirt. You must be lured some guy. You useless bitch. No matter how hard I tried to explain to him, he didn't listen to me. I was at a loss as to what to do. He was shouting at me at that point. His words became more and more abusive. People were glancing at us. I felt very uncomfortable. When I was about to speak, Oliver, who had been quietly watching our exchange next to me, spoke up. Please, stop insulting my mother. What the hell? If you continue being rude to her, I will call the police. Josh flinched as Oliver flashed his phone at him. After glaring at him resentfully, Josh said nothing, but just clicked his tongue and walked away. Thank you, sweetheart. If you ever need help, just call me. He seemed illogical, so it's not safe for you to talk to him alone. But, it's dangerous. Okay. I couldn't believe that my son had come to my rescue. I thought he was still a child, but I was unexpectedly moved by how much he had grown up. Several more years passed. Oliver was about to graduate from university, and it was time for him to look for a job. We had planned to dine out together after his job interview. He was running late, so I was waiting for him at our meeting point when Josh appeared in front of me. Yo, Grace. Josh? He still had a nasty smirk as before, but his clothes were tattered and his shoes had holes. The way he appeared was so disheveled that I wouldn't have recognized him unless he called out to me. As I stood there, unable to say anything from the shock, Josh staggered close to me. Hey, honey, why don't we get remarried and live together again? What? Yes, let's do that. Let's live together. Unable to grasp his incoherent demand, I just stood there like a statue. He was getting closer and closer. When his hand touched my shoulder, I jerked back and bumped into someone. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm okay. Are you alright? The older man looked at me with concern, as if he sensed something strange in the air. The man glanced at Josh and was about to say something. Hey, you! Stay away from my mother! Oliver, who had just arrived, stepped in between me and Josh. Ugh, good timing. I'm going to be your father, so you're going to have to support me, you understand? What the hell? What are you talking about? A child who was abandoned by his parents and didn't grow up feeling their love must be facing a hard life. Probably you can't even find a good job and will live like a loser. If you can't be happy living in poverty, you should at least be a good son and devote yourself to your father. You're making no sense. If it was only about me, I could put it up with it. But to make fun of him is abominable. My vision was distorted with rage. He knew nothing about us and had no right to speak about us. I clenched my fist in frustration. Oliver seemed to be indignant as well. Perhaps he was hurt to be taught unfairly during a sensitive time in his job search. He bit his lip in frustration. I had to protect him. When I glared at Josh with all the hate in the world, the man who had been quietly watching us spoke calmly. With all due respect, this young man has already been accepted by my company. You should have received a call today. Huh? What are you talking about, old man? You had nothing to do with us, so don't get involved. I actually do. I assumed I had more to do with him than you. Oh, I'm sorry. I have introduced myself. The man took out his business card. Josh was astounded when he read it and looked at the man's face and the card over and over again. When I looked at the card, the title, Chief Executive Officer, was written on it. The company name was the same as Oliver's first choice. Both he and I were too stunned to say anything. The man continued to speak in the same calm manner. I was friends with Oliver's late father. Before his death, we used to play golf together, and I used to visit his house. Oliver was very young, so I don't think he remembers me. I played with you too, Oliver. After your parents passed away, I heard that a friend of your late mother took you in. You've been raised by a wonderful person. I can see the shadow of your late father, not only in your appearance, but in your kind heart. He had a strong sense of justice too. The three of us intently listened to the man. He looked at Oliver compassionately and then moved his eyes upon Josh. His calm voice abruptly changed, and he started to speak sternly. Oliver has grown up to be a very fine man raised by her and his late parents. On the contrary, how about you? You curse others in such a blunt manner in a public place? Before you speak ill of him, you should reflect on yourself in the mirror. Shut up, old man! Don't get too comfortable with me just because I listened to your story. Turning red, Josh drew closer to the man. When he was about to grab the man's neck, his hands were stopped by other hands. "Hey, calm down. Come with us. Let's talk over there." Surprised by the sudden appearance of the police, I glanced at Oliver, who was holding out his phone. I wondered when he had called them. I was being protective while I was trying to protect him. It wasn't the right time to be emotional, but I was moved by Oliver's maturity. He was not a little child to be protected anymore. "Mom, are you okay?" I looked at him with a strange feeling of happiness and sadness. He stared back at me curiously. "I'm fine, thank you." His stiffened expression relaxed as he was relieved. After that, Josh was out of control for a little while, but the police took him down. He was taken away with his head hung down as if he had given up. I have not seen him since then. I heard through the rumor that he remarried a such younger colleague after divorcing me, but they were unable to have a child. His wife was very insistent, and he reluctantly told her about his infertility. She wanted a child so badly that she was outraged by him for not telling her earlier, and they divorced. In addition, all the complaints she made to her colleagues started circulating at work, and he was too ashamed to keep working there. He resigned from his job, but he was having a hard time finding new employment. He had to make do with a part-time job to survive. It was during that time he happened to run into me again, and that was how the whole thing came to be. I don't know where he is and what he is doing now, but I sure hope he'll never appear in front of Oliver and me again. I have consulted with the police and have taken countermeasures just in case. Oliver got his own place after he landed on the job. We're still close and talk on phone every day. He's having a hard time getting used to his unfamiliar life, but he's determined to stand on his own feet. As for me, I fell in love at first sight with the CEO, who helped me at that time. I invited him to dinner as a way of thanking him, and we had an unexpectedly good time. Since we were both single, we've been meeting for lunch or dinner since then. Oliver is amazed by my excitement at being in love for the first time in a long while. He listens to me and gives me advice. He is a really good son. When Josh and I divorced, I had no idea such a life was awaiting me. You never know what life has in store for you.